Hear ye, hear ye. Court is now in session in the case Vickers v. Jeeves. These are the facts of the case and are not disputed. Early on the morning of December 16th, a two-car automobile accident occurred at the intersection of Justice and Eagle Streets. Terry Vickers, the driver of a 1998 Toyota Coupe, was taken to the Northeast Regional Medical Center and hospitalized for treatment of a broken leg, bruised ribs, and lacerations to the upper torso, neck, and face. The other car, a 1995 Chevrolet sedan, was driven by Dane Nelson, who was not injured. Before the accident occurred, Nelson had attended a holiday party hosted by Rick Jeeves for members of Delta Kappa, a sorority. The party was held at the party room of Rick Jeeves' apartment complex located 2 miles from the scene of the accident. Nelson pleaded guilty to running a stop sign and driving under the influence of alcohol. Vickers has reached an out-of-court settlement with Dane Nelson for any claims that Vickers might have arising from the accident. As Nelson is a student with limited insurance coverage and little money, the settlement only covered the cost of repairing the car. Therefore, Vickers has filed suit to recover additional damages against Rick Jeeves, the host of the party. In this suit, Vickers alleges that Jeeves negligently served alcoholic beverages to Dane Nelson in violation of Statute 1MT. Vickers' suit further alleges that Vickers' injuries in the automobile accident resulted from Jeeves' negligent servants of alcohol. In the suit, Vickers wants $18,400 in compensatory damages for medical bills and lost wages. Rick Jeeves does not contest the amount of damages, but denies any liability for serving alcoholic beverages to Dane Nelson. As the jury, it is your responsibility to decide if Rick Jeeves negligently served alcohol to Dane Nelson and can therefore be held liable for any damage caused by Dane Nelson's actions after the alcohol was served. You will be hearing from 4 witnesses involved in this trial. For each of the witnesses, fill out a corresponding juror's sheet, taking down information that you feel would be pertinent to your decision-making in this case. The following is Statute 1MT as it reads. Section 1. Every person who negligently serves or causes to be served any alcoholic beverages to an obviously intoxicated person shall be liable for injuries to third persons caused by the acts or omissions of the intoxicated person.
My name is Terry Vickers, and I'm a computer software engineer for Microsoft. On the morning of December 16th, I was going home from work. I had to work at night to get some time to test some new programs I am working on. I was driving down Eagle Street at about 30 to 35 miles per hour. There was hardly any traffic. There's a stop sign for the traffic on Justice at the intersection of Justice and Eagle. As I proceeded through the intersection, I noticed the Chevy speeding at me from my left side on Justice Street. I slammed on the brakes, but the Chevy never stopped. It was as though the driver never saw the stop sign. The Chevy's headlights were not turned on. Just before we crashed, the driver slammed on the brakes and skidded into my car at the door on the driver's side. After the accident, as I lay on the stretcher, I saw the driver, Dane Nelson, talking to the police. Nelson was mumbling badly. Nelson had trouble standing up straight. Nelson was clearly drunk. A police officer investigated the accident. He charged Dane Nelson with driving while intoxicated. He was crying at the time and refused to take chemical sobriety tests. I suffered serious injuries from the accident, resulting in my being in the hospital for 10 days and out of work for a month. Dane's insurance only covered the damage to my automobile, and because he is a student, he has no more money. I think the person who should pay is Rick Jeeves. Jeeves served the alcohol when Nelson was already intoxicated and told Nelson to leave and drive the car. Someone has got to be responsible for what happened.
Hey, what's up, Court? My name is Lee Porter. I'm a senior at MSUM, 21. Although I had seen Rick Jeeves once or twice around campus, I don't really know Rick. He's the president of one of the big sororities, Delta Kappa. So it's hard not to know someone as popular as him. Rick invited Dane, Nelson, and me to his party because Rick knew we were interested in joining the sorority. When we arrived at the party, about 11 p.m., Rick said hi. I said we were late because Dane couldn't find a place to park his car. Rick said not to worry about that, just come in, have a few drinks. He said there was pop for non-drinkers if there were any, but the real partiers would have some Jamba Juice, which had alcohol in it, or some beer. He gave Dane some punch, and I had a Coke. I don't drink. Like to keep an eye on my body. It's got tons of calories in it. Gross. And I don't think people should drink if they're driving. There was a lot of loud music, and over 30 people were drinking, dancing, talking. I saw Dane serve himself more punch, and Jeeves was encouraging many people to drink. I didn't see Dane for a while, but at about 12:30 a.m. I saw a group playing a video game, and Rick Jeeves handed all them beers, including Dane. Shortly thereafter, Dane seemed to get into a loud argument with James, a Delta Kappa guy. After they got into an argument and knocked over the video game, Rick Jeeves got real mad and was like, "Hey, if you guys can't control yourselves, you're gonna have to go." And then Dane got mad and he was like, "I'm leaving." He grabbed a beer and he walked out the door. Rick didn't stop him. Well, I wasn't gonna ride home with Dane after all that drinking, so I just stayed behind and decided to get a ride home with somebody else. I was never invited to join Delta Kappa. I'm pretty sure it's because I don't approve of the way that they act. Hey, I'm Rick Jeeves. Guess I'm being sued because I threw a party. I'm president, Delta Kappa. Our club has a chapter at MSUM. That's where I met Dane. We try to promote business, social ties between club members, college people in the business world. We kind of hope that if people are in the sorority, then they'll do good later. So I have parties to help people meet other people. So yeah, let's see. I threw a party. It's December 15th for some club members, and then people who were wanted to join, like Dane and that dude Lee. I had food and pop and beer and stuff. I made the punch myself. It had a little rum in it, but not very much. I didn't really pay attention to Dane at the party because there's a lot of people there, but from what I saw, he just acted like any normal person would at that kind of thing. He did get pretty lively at one point and was dancing on a table, but that's kind of just Dane, Dane being Dane or whatever. Dane was trying to get Lee to loosen up and enjoy himself, but Lee is a total loser. Definitely not Delta Kappa. No, I don't think so. Not gonna be in Delta Kappa. Anyway, let's see. I gave Dan a drink or two, no more than I offered anyone else. I don't force anyone to drink. It's their decision. They're adults. He did at 12:30. He got into a fight with James over a video game or something. And then I was like, "Hey, dude, leave if you can't handle it." I didn't really think he would leave, but I guess he did. I didn't know he was driving, so. And I for sure, did not see him grab beer when he left. I don't know, that's what they said, but whatever. I know Dan wasn't drunk when he left. I gave him some punch when he got there and maybe a beer or two later on, but he ate and everything, and that, cuts it down. So, whatever, not my fault, know what I mean? Oi, my name is Dane Nelson. I'm a senior over at MSUM. Obviously, I'm not from here. But on December the 15th, I went to a party at Rick Jeeves' house. He wanted me and Lee to join Delta Kappa, so we had been invited over, meet some people, do some greeting, do some partying, some dancing. Straight away when we got there, I don't know if he knew that I was driving or not, but he offered us some punch or some what you call beer here. I think I had some punch, not very strong if I remember right, nothing like Mom makes back home. Anyway, we had a pretty good time, I think. We playing video games, we did some dancing. I remember dancing on the table at one point, little Cotton Eye Joe, they call it. So that was fun. We got a little rowdy, me and James at one point. I can't even remember the game we were playing, but when someone gets in my face, you better believe I'm going to come right back and square up, But, maybe Rick doesn't know me like he knows me now at the time, so he was a little pissed off about it. He was like, hey, if you can't handle your booze or whatever and you need to get off, I was like, all right. And so I left, and I had maybe 2 pints, which is nothing, and I had eaten some really terrible, probably grocery store, croissants. They were really nasty. Anyway, I was not drunk when I left, but when I got in the accident, it was just because I was tired and I didn't see the stop sign, not because I was drunk. And I didn't know, they asked about sobriety tests, they called it. And I didn't know that if you say no, you automatically get charged with drinking and driving. So apparently that would have been useful information for me, but I didn't know that at the time. I pleaded guilty because I thought I would receive a lesser sentence, and I guess maybe that in retrospect was the wrong decision, but whatever. The main thing is now that case is done, and Rick had nothing to do with the accident or anything. He just threw the party. So the whole thing is really stupid, if you ask me.
Now that you have heard all of the testimonies in this case, it is up to you to make a decision. Did Rick Jeeves violate Statute 1MT? You are going to produce 3 items for me, your teacher. Number 1, a vocabulary sheet explaining the vocabulary terms within the context of this case. And number 2, your decision on Rick Jeeves' fate. You need to include in your decision pertinent parts of testimony from throughout the trial. Good luck, and may the force be with you.